What are you doing? Why are you sitting there? Get off your ass and click that subscribe button. And if you're already subscribed, click that like button. We need to know that you really mean it, that you really appreciate our content. And if you want to hear the full version of the podcast, go to iTunes and Google Play. That's SMH Podcast with no space, SMH Podcast. Or if you feel like really getting the full-on experience of me in Philly, also Mo and other people, go to Soundcloud. Soundcloud has a bunch of stuff, a bunch of content from us. Some of the stuff you won't even find nowhere else but SoundCloud. And if you feel froggy, then leap on over to www.smhpodcast.com. There we do full-on written articles with audio versions. Also, you'll probably find in the future critically acclaimed genius segments like the Weekly Thirst and much, much more. Enjoy.
Yeah, I wasn't talking shit.
Alright, and we're back from that quick break. And by quick, I mean 1 minute. Had to start recording. But we're gonna start doing reviews of comics to really make this a full-on comic book, Marvel, MCU, DCU, whatever, podcast. We real about our shit. We dedicated to the subscribers. And we might even go see X-Men Apocalypse. You finna go see that, Mo?
I mean, if you need me to, I can.
Yeah, man. Yeah, go ahead and see that terrible ass movie that what everybody was saying. And matter of fact, let's what do you expect from the film? Let's do that right here. What are your expectations for that X-Men Apocalypse? Which I never asked you before.
It looks a little boo boo. I'm more expecting anything out of it really. But it's like there are good things and there's bad things. Like I like Olivia Munn as Psylocke, but like that Mystique stuff is getting annoying, and I hate Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh,
like,
I fucking hate her.
I really don't like her. She's got one of them faces I just don't like. I don't like her.
Like that, she got that Kristen Dunst face, man.
Yeah, man. She's oversaturated as hell. Like she's everywhere. And it's just like keep your face out of this, man. Like you're ruining this shit for me.
Why the fuck is Mystique running the X-Men? She's supposed to be like an anti-hero or some shit.
And I hate how the stories treat her and stuff. It's just like, oh, did you know Jennifer Lawrence might leave X-Men? And I'm like, good.
Yeah, bye, bitch.
I'm like, oh, I'm not avoiding. Exactly, right? You just annoying.
Damn, why the movie got to be centered around you, bitch?
Exactly. When was Mystique ever this important?
God damn, like she more in control of the team than fucking Xavier. Like, what's going on?
Exactly. I'm like, when were you a hero?
Yeah, this motherfucker over there being gay for Michael Fassbender and shit. Not even Magneto. Michael Fassbender is who he's gay for. Like, that nigga's never in his goddamn costume no more.
Why are we seeing Mystique walk around in the X-Men costume? Like, you were never an X-Men. What is this I'm looking at right now?
I know, like, it's just garbage, man. But yeah, that CG looked like shit. I'm gonna say that, like, that CG looked horrible.
I mean, there were two scenes I liked. I liked the growing thing that's not gay shit. The growing thing like Oscar Isaac did as Apocalypse, and I like the Psylocke scene where she flips and slices some shit with a side blade. I like that.
You know, they said that growing thing was a dream sequence.
Oh, it's gay.
and that's
everything good has to be a dream sequence, right? Like that Batman shit has to be a dream sequence when he's Mad Max and stuff. I don't like this, man. Stop making everything a damn dream sequence.
Yeah, like why? I ain't never like comics ain't really had this many dream sequences. Like goddamn.
It feels like the world just realized that was a thing. Like I can make a dream sequence now. Everyone wants it in there. It's like that R-rated thing that happened after Deadpool.
They trying to make everything deeper than what it is, and with these dream sequences and shit. And they said that's not that many. That's not really any hand-to-hand combat scenes. It's all flipping around and flying and shooting shit at each other.
Oh my god! You see what I'm saying? Like my thing is that I was looking at reviews, and even the people that liked it said this movie isn't as good as the last two. So it's like, what's the point? What's the point of me watching this? If it's not as good as the last two movies, why would you make this? Why does this need to exist?
They want to keep that license. They don't want to get that shit back over to Marvel. They got to keep making movies. They can't stop. They stopped that shit going back.
Yeah, if you're making movies, make good ones, please. Like, stop making this. Like, the only one I'm genuinely interested in now is if they make that X-Force movie, if they make Deadpool 2, and Wolverine 3. Those are the three that I want to see. I'm more interested in the main X-Men movies anymore. I just don't care.
Yeah, just give all that shit back to Marvel, man. But let's move on, man. We about to review Black Panther issue 1 and 2.
You were not about to say Black Hamster.
I was about to say black hamster.
That's what
Yeah,
you
it
about to
sounded like
say.
that. That H was
I was,
coming out my mouth. I had to contain
see, if it was a white boy in that suit, it would be Black Hamster. That's what it would be.
it. Black hamster. That sound like the spinoff from X Hamster. Just black porn on that bitch.
I know, right? Oh my
Black
god.
hamster.
Yeah, Ebony Hamster.
Ebony. Oh shit. Let's move. Let's go. Let's talk about this. These. Fuck. I had a brain
English
fart,
bush,
man.
English.
I'm fucking up. I'm fucking up, man. I'm fucking up. Fucking up. But we talking about Black Panther issue 1 and 2. We're gonna do a quick ass. This ain't even gonna be a. It's gonna be a long ass fucking review. Now that I think about it. And first thing I want to ask you, Mo. First thing we're gonna start the review off with is surface, meaning how's the presentation, the overall look and feel of the comic. What are your thoughts on that right there? Don't mention the story, just the look of it.
I think this book is solid, man. Like it looks like a great book in the making. Do you know what I mean? It looks like it's going to be a solid story, and it treats the character with respect. The aesthetic is interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like it just looks like a book I would want to be reading.
Okay, like something you want to spend time with, rub it down.
Okay.
Yeah, man. You gotta make love to your comics, dog.
I feel like it's interesting. Just looking at issue 1 and issue 2's cover, it just looks like there's a story already being told from just the covers alone. You know
yeah. They do a great job of that. Great ass job. But let's move on to the. I'm gonna give you a quick synopsis of the first issue. And in the first issue, Wakanda is in disarray. It's in chaos. They just got over a major war or something like that. I think Killmonger was a part of that revolt, that coup, and they're trying to rebuild Wakanda back up. And everybody is mad at the king. The king isn't doing things the way they want him to do things. And these factions, these groups are breaking apart from the kingdom and starting their own little factions or whatever. And that's essentially what the first issue is about. The king coming to terms with him losing his people and him trying to figure out the way to get them back, but he can't seem to. He could he's all force. No, he's dealing with his sister being into a coma, and that doesn't allow him to think straight or properly. And he's trying to solve all his problems and issues with force. And the people around him are telling him to stop, but he can't seem to do that. And also, there's this witch. What is she really? We don't really know what she is. But
I mean, like the story really is just a tale of a lost king. You know what I mean? It's a tale of a king that was so confident in what he was doing, and then something just completely threw him off balance, and it makes him question everything that he does. And as soon as he begins to question himself, as people begin to question him as well.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Musty. That was good right there. That was a good synopsis. You just summed it up all right there. I was just talking in circles and shit right there. But
yeah, and I mean, like it's interesting just to see like the supporting characters, like they're trying to help him out in this position that he's in.
Mo, you had it, man. Don't say too much, man. You had it, Mo.
All right, man.
all right. But overall thoughts, Mo.
Overall thoughts, I think it's a very solid and unique book. Like I'm reading quite a few of the Marvel titles right now, but this has its own feel, its own way of telling a story, its own art style. And I think that the book is a solid read if you've ever been interested in the character. It isn't very newcomer friendly per se, but I feel as if you'll get a swing of things as soon as you start reading.
Why did you say it wasn't newcomer friendly?
Because it just throws names around really confidently. It doesn't say, "Oh, this is this person. That's my cousin." Do you know what I'm saying? Like it kind of does at parts, but it's like for the most part, it's like it throws you in the middle of a storyline. It throws you right into the middle of this war that's just finished up, and it's just like my people doubt me. Do you see what I'm saying?
See, man, Mo, man, that's the mark of good storytelling right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not holding your hand. It's telling the story through the dialogue of the characters and not really holding your hand throughout the process. You'll figure out later on. Yeah.
I really do like we're just talking about overall thoughts, right?
Yeah.
I think that overall this book is solid if you're looking for something very different to read. This book is not written necessarily like your most like every other Marvel book. Like Marvel books are like fun in a very different way. They're supposed to be pieces of entertainment. This book is very real. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's like it's ridiculously real. Like sometimes uncomfortably real. With
Nigga,
like
I
how
ain't
the
laughing out
characters.
one time. Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. You don't need to laugh every time. Sometimes the book needs to be serious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, how can a story about a king that's just come back after a war and everybody doesn't trust him anymore? How can that be a funny story? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Like there's no places for humor and shit like that. Yeah.
But it's solid. I like the book. What about you, Bush?
Oh, great, nigga, man, nigga. That's my overall thoughts, nigga. No, well, I mean,
That's Bush. That's Bush trying to name all the characters in the book.
nigga.
Nigga one, nigga two.
Coming from a manga background, just read nothing but mangas, One Piece and shit like that. This is good storytelling right here. Like manga is like convoluted and it lasts forever and it's like lots of especially One Piece. I'm talking about specifically One Piece. Lots of dialogue to set up shit. This was just like quick. Didn't really have a lot of dialogue on each page. There was a lot of words there, but it was spread out throughout the issue, throughout the 2 issues. And this was a great fucking book. One of my first journeys into comics. I haven't even read the Iron Man and Power Fist book yet. I mean, I said Iron Man, Power Man, and Iron Fist. I keep doing that shit.
Oh no, man. I don't think I would ever want to read the Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't sound good at all.
Iron Man and Power Fist.
Yeah. That sounds like a gay porn on Power Fist, man. That nigga shoves his powerful fist up booties.
Yeah, this is like one of the first things I ever read, and this shit is fucking brilliant. That nigga dropping poetry, man, just straight up bars everywhere.
I mean, there's a really interesting parallel right here. Like, this is Bush's real like first journey into like reading a comic book that he plans to keep up with. Like, it isn't just reading like a graphic novel or anything like that. This is just a single issue, or 2 issues at this point, and you plan to read next month's issue, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, at the same time, this is also the first time the author Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing a comic book, so it's an interesting parallel right there. Like, you managed to read, your first time reader for the most part, and this is the first time writer of comic books at the same time, so it's an interesting book to start off with.
Oh yeah, this is a very interesting book to start off with, man. And
also, Ta-Nehisi Coates, you know more about him than I do, but I know he's a African philosopher, and he's a man that's very intelligent. He's a very intelligent man, and I do know that an interesting fact is that he did go to school, to the same school as Chadwick Boseman, the man that's actually playing Black Panther right now.
This nigga Mo had to crowbar that shit in there, boy. His knowledge.
I have to, man. I have to throw out my facts.
Hey, you trying to show off his shit, man?
Hey, man. Yeah, I have to, man. This nigga T'Challa's last name is Avocado, so I have to just continue. We gonna.
But anyway, nigga, that was all I wanted to continue with. Well,
all right, you got another category. Let's see this.
All right, next we're gonna talk about what stood out to you, Mo, in this story right here. What stood out in this issue? Let's go with issue 1 first. Actually both of them, issue 1 and then issue 2.
Okay, issue 1. My favorite moment wasn't even really like an action scene, because like usually you'd expect someone to be like, oh yeah, why'd you read the comics? The cool action and the fighting and stuff. But that wasn't really my favorite moment. My favorite moment was when there was the inner dialogue where he was talking about like, this is my stepmother or something like that, or someone that my father's second wife or something like that. And pretty much he was like, I love her just as much as I love my actual mother and stuff like that. And I felt that was a pretty interesting thing, because like, and then when she said something like, T'Challa, you're not a soldier, you're a king, and you have to stop acting like one. And she said like, stop being the sword and be the man behind it, and stuff like that.
There's fucking bars everywhere and shit.
And it was just intelligent to me. I was just like, okay, man, that makes sense, because like he can't just be a man that just like sees everything as something barbaric, like anything that can be solved with violence. It's not something like that.
Like, nigga, you the king, man. You supposed to send other people out there to kill people viciously, man. Like
throughout this book, you'll see T'Challa say stuff like, "I'll kill him, I'll kill her." Like, just killing isn't always going to fix your problems. You know what I mean? You need to be the king. You need to be better than the people. Yeah. And I feel as if that kind of clarifies that. Yeah, the people are in uproar. The people aren't exactly settled, but there's something different about T'Challa that he needs to fix. He's going through a journey right now, and we're seeing it right now.
Okay,
that's interesting.
Okay. And You know what? Matter of fact, what stood out to me was really, and this is one of the biggest things was I like the character Zenzi, I think her name was. And
Hmm.
what stood out to me was one of the scenes where Black Panther is breaking into what is that faction called? What is that? It's like Uganda, but it's some shit.
Nicaragua, yeah, and
Naganda,
stuff
yeah,
like
Naganda, yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah,
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 yeah.
and he was breaking into their base, and he was beating up everybody's ass, and while he's doing that, she's just talking, and we can hear her talking, and I guess he's trying to manipulate him or whatever, because that's what she does. She manipulates people. She brings out what they are feeling inside, and she brings it to the forefront. And when he gets into the palace and he starts beating up these people or whatever, and she says something that I liked. Like this bitch was dropping bars on Black Panther. I was like, damn. I forgot. I
Mm.
gotta find what she said.
I think what she says something along the lines of, like when you start to when you start to doubt yourself, it isn't necessarily that makes the people lose trust in you or stop believing in you. It's when they lose their resolve to believe in you. They you give them a reason not to trust you or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. That was good too, Mo. I was talking about this right here, Mo. This is what I was talking about. She
all
was
right.
like, "Why trifle with your head when I can easily devour your heart?" And when she did that, when she said that shit, she showed him images of his sister, and he was
Oh,
kind of fighting with his sister.
oh
And
yeah, and they had that inner conflict where like his sister appears and like
yeah,
he's talking to them and she's like, "You're a failure" and all that stuff as a
yeah.
king. And oh, it was so good.
and
That was
and
so
that
good.
and that is what's truly affecting him. That is what's causing him to lose his mind and not really be regal and not really be a king. Because he's dealing with these issues of his sister being gone, and he feels like he's responsible for that. But it wasn't even that part right there. What the part that got me was when after he got out of this little sequence of things, and they show him beating up these last two Nagundan guards, and like he goes to the woman, he goes to a woman and a woman and with her kids or whatever, and he says, "I have now saved." I'm paraphrasing. He says, "I have now saved you." Um,
Yeah, and I'm here to protect you or
yeah,
something like that.
and the lady says, "No, nigga, those men you just fucking beat up were providing for us already." And I thought that was a very powerful piece because like he is beating up like it shows us that these people aren't really the typical villains. They're not really villains like that. They're not really evil.
Yeah, and it's
They
like to an extent you understand why they're doing what they do, and
yeah
like like as a reader, even though you want to agree with T'Challa, and since he's the hero, you want to believe he's right. But it's like at the same time he's messing up a lot. Like there's reason for people to doubt that he's a great king and all of that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah
he's a broken man at this point. His sisters, that the whole thing with his sisters definitely affected him. The whole thing with the war is obviously affecting him. Like all of that stuff is culminated into self doubt, and he's doubting himself a lot. Like you hear this inner conflict, like in these different sort of like they do these little soliloquy type things where it's like they have moments where he's just thinking, and like
uh huh
these thoughts go really, really deep into the psyche of like T'Challa as a king, and it's like it's really interesting because
uh,
if you've ever seen like it kind of contrasts with Civil War too because you see like him at kind of a high point where he's real powerful and he's just all those cool action scenes, and then you read this book and it's like damn, this guy is at a very low place right now.
oh yeah, extremely low. And let's now let's go from character to character, and let's talk about each individual character because I think that's how we're gonna get more out of this review right here. We talking about both the issues, by the way, issue 1 and 2. The first couple of characters, I'm gonna give you a quick backstory of them. That's the Midnight Angels, and what happens with them is that Anika, she kills the chieftain because the chieftains are corrupt, and I guess he got hoes or whatever, hookers and shit. And she was trying to reason with the dude, and and she told the dude to stop, but I guess the dude wouldn't stop, so she killed him. And she is being put on trial and sentenced to death. And the person that's pleading her case is Ayo, and she's the captain of the Dora Milaje, which is the Royal Guard for Black Panther. And her pleading did not work. She was talking, of course, to Black Panther's mother, Ramonda. And
I would pay good money to just hear Bush try to say these African names at once. It's just the funniest thing to me. It's just like Rwanda, Iyaka, Ichakabuka, Swahili.
oh, come on, Mo. But yeah, her pleading with Ramonda failed, and she, I guess she couldn't have her way, so she stole prototype suits, and she broke into the prison and saved Anika. And what makes these two so special is that they're lesbians, and that her breaking,
they kiss and shit.
Yeah, they kiss. They had these touching scenes, and they like you see the dark silhouettes, and they making love and shit like that.
Oh, you said touch. You said touching scenes, and I thought you meant like the moments for touching. No, these bitches really touching each other.
Oh yeah, they were kissing and all of that nasty stuff.
The African tongue in the front.
Yeah, long ass tongue.
That bitch was like, I'm about to show you my Black Panther.
Oh yeah, wow! About to unleash that Cheeto on her, man. But yeah, she these two are in love with each other, and that was one of the reasons that drove Ayo. I think that's like I'm fucking up on these names, but that's what drove her to break her out. And what are your thoughts on the Midnight Angels, Mo?
I think it's interesting, man. The idea and like how they're doing it. Like, I like the idea. Like, we really haven't seen too much about them. We've just seen moments, and I want to see what their greater goal is, what they want to do later on in the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they seem confused right now. I think they mentioned something about not being with the king. They said they believe the king wields too much power. They said one man shouldn't have all that power. You know, I'm thinking of Kanye West song.
I thought the same thing.
I saw that shit burning in the grass.
I think it's also like exploring the idea of a world that's beyond the idea of a monarchy. Do you know what I mean? They don't believe in the fact that there's a king and stuff like that. The world's moved way past that.
Good point right there. They might be talking about a whole new, completely different system than the one they have now.
President T'Challa, man.
I know they don't fuck with that nigga no more.
I know, right?
But I mean, I like these characters. Like I fucking love these characters, dog. The way they are like Robin Hood or whatever the fuck. Not really Robin Hood, but they
more like lesbian hood. That's what it is.
You trying to make a joke? No,
they kiss it in the night, man.
Yeah, they're sort of like vigilantes in that they come to save the poor people, and because these criminals are getting off the hook now because they realize that the king isn't in complete control anymore and he's losing his mind. So these criminals is like, fuck it, man, let's rape bitches and destroy shit. And the Midnight Angels chicks, they stop all that.
You know my favorite line? Sorry, I have to tell you my favorite line about that. The whole scene with they're in the cell, and then like I think like the grandma's like, I'm gonna save you, and then what happened was just like the guy's like, oh, don't worry, I'll save you. And then what happened was, and I'll save some saving for your grandma too, and I'll save your grandma really well. And then I remember the Midnight Angels come out of nowhere. She's like, how can you save these people if you can't even save yourself? And I'm like,
balls.
I was like, she about to destroy you. Like, Wakanda powers activate. That's what about to happen, man.
The pussy power cannot be contained. And let's talk about the next character. Let's move on from Nil. Let's talk about Zenzi. And her origin, her background is that she was one of the people. She's a Nagundan, and the Nagundans teamed up with Killmonger, and I guess Killmonger lost his mind and blamed the Nagundans for his failed attempt at taking over. And I guess he ordered the Nagundans to be assassinated, but she escaped, and she controlled one of the guards or whatever. But what is her real goal really? Do we know her true goal?
I think her goal is just to overthrow T'Challa, really. Like, I don't think she necessarily wants to be in power. She just doesn't. I feel like she is like the conflicting ideology to T'Challa. T'Challa's stuck in these ways of maintaining the legacy of the Black Panther, and she just kind of wants to end it. She doesn't feel like T'Challa's fit to be leading Wakanda in of itself. Yeah. I think that's really what she is. She's just like, she's not necessarily a villain. She just opposes like the role of T'Challa. And like, there's that whole thing going on with I think Zenzi, like no, not Zenzi, the other person, like the guy that wears like the mask and stuff, the helmet thing.
Oh, and, I forgot his name.
Yeah, like his dad works in like the university and stuff like that.
Oh, you're talking about tattoo.
Yeah, Tattoo or something like Tutu or some shit like that. But anyway, that guy's pretty cool. Like he's kind of like the number two guy there. Like he talks to her, like he conversates with her, and I think he also defends her too. He's almost like a god. Like yeah, and it's really interesting. I like that character.
What about cause I was gonna talk about one of the lines she said, and she was like, "Power lies." Cause it's a line you mentioned, where she says, "Power lies not in what a king does, but what his subjects believe he might do."
Because that's the thing. They believe that he puts himself ahead of his people, and they don't trust that. And really, because like all of his people are suffering after that war, but his sister's safe in a coma somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like
I don't know. I don't know if I completely agree with you on that one.
Okay.
You know, I think I completely lost my fucking train of thought.
How can you disagree with me when you don't know what you're talking about, man? All right, time to move on to Civil War Issue 2.
No. But I just think they lost faith in the king. I don't think they and I think and she mentioned that they're not scared of him. They don't trust him. I just think they feel they're ashamed of him. That's one of the words she used. She used ashamed. And it's like they don't have any. They feel sorry for him, like of what he's become, and he's not he's not fit to lead. So, and she's tapping into that, and she's able to control and manipulate these people. So, but I was reading the shit, and I had a deeper thought than that, and I just completely forgot what the fuck I was gonna say. But we gonna end it with that right there. Not the review, but my thoughts on her. What's another character? Let me try to find out one more character. I think that's pretty much it. Those are the people that got the most highlights in the first two issues. Now, what was your what are your thoughts on the story progression and the direction it's going in?
I mean, it's going in an interesting direction. Really, it's not really a thing where it's like predictable at all. Like I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? But I do think that the cliffhanger on issue 2 is really interesting. With like Shuri in this kind of mindscape where like her stepmother or whatever it is just like there being like you're in this field of like memories or something like that. And it's like this book kind of took this direction where it's like it's not only a journey for T'Challa, it's a journey for Wakanda. Like Wakanda has to discover itself as well as a state, and also it's going to be a journey for Shuri at this point too. So
that
I feel like
coma journey shit. She
no, but did you see like?
She's the end.
That's happening all in her mind, man. Like it's like she's gonna. Like the thing is that like it's interesting. They're gonna have to balance out those two things happening, and I think it's gonna be really fun.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be incredibly fun. I I feel the same way, man. I like the direction it's going in, and I like that the king doesn't seem to have any redeeming qualities. This nigga's lost his fucking mind. I mean, you know what? Actually, he's sort of understanding now. I like how it left off. At the end, he's sort of understanding what's his issue, and he's trying to figure out a way to handle those.
Definitely, and I feel as if like Ta-Nehisi Coates, like the thing is that he's not traditionally a comic writer. We already established that a second ago. But it's like I feel as if he's understanding the formula in which a comic book works in. Like the whole idea is that you really interest them from the first page, you have like a cool thing happen, then you have the story build up, and the final page has to be what makes them come back for next month. Because you need to understand, every time you release an issue of a book, there's usually about 4 weeks in between them. So how are you going to keep those people interested enough for that? And then that whole reveal with Shuri, it was big enough for me to be like, okay, I want to find out what happens with this character next month. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel as if he's understanding how to write comic books as opposed to writing like philosophies and stuff like that.
Understand that nigga's already the best. What you mean understand?
No. But the thing is, you need to understand the thing that he's writing so well is what he's been writing all of his life. Like what he's writing is the philosophies of these characters. He's writing these characters like what's going on inside of their heads, and that's what he does for a living. Do you know what I mean? But right now, it's him exploring how comic books work. Do you know what I mean? What makes comic books a different medium? What makes people want to come back for next month and stuff like that? And that's why I feel as if the fact that he had that ending there, it was really, really interesting. And it's like the first issue, right? Like I don't really remember what the last page was, but this issue, it does feel like he was like, okay, this is what the last page is. This was going to be a next issue, and you should come back for next month or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty much what he did.
Yeah.
So,
let's move on to the next thing. Oh, actually, what is your rating for the overall these 2 issues? What is your rating for them?
I give it a 4.5. I think it's solid. Like, I think it's a good book.
Nigga, shut up. This is a 5, man. You talking about some 4.5. See, I see what you're trying to do there, Mo. You ain't pick out no damn flaws in the book, but you gonna give it a 4.5.
I mean, really, my problem is that as a book, it works really cool and well. Like, if I didn't have the second issue, I don't know if I would necessarily be as interested as I am right now. Like, I feel as if these 2 issues work really well together, but if I had just read the first one, I don't know what I would have thought. I would have been like, okay, this is pretty cool. I like the dialogue, but am I interested enough to read issue 2? I would have questioned that. But 2 issues definitely made me confident in the fact that I want to read this.
Okay. Let's move on, because I wanted to do a scene-by-scene review, but I kind of fucked that up because I completely forgot when the review started. But we're going to do it for this one, goddammit. Fuck it. Like, I don't care, Mo. We're doing it for Civil War 2, issue 0. Mm-hmm. Now, Mo, I'm going to let you take it away. I'm not. You don't have to do a scene by scene, but I'm gonna set up the scene for you. In the first scene, we have She-Hulk, and she is defending. What is the dude's name? What is his name? Fucking.
I completely forgot, man. I think his name was the Jester.
Jester who?
No, Jester, like a Jester medieval, like, Jester the clown.
Oh, you talking about? Oh, that's it. Yeah, his in his costume he's Jester. His name is Jonathan Powers. Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan Powers is the Jester, and pretty much the book deals with this idea that this guy, he committed crimes in the past, but he's trying to reform himself, and it's pretty much She-Hulk defending the fact that you can't really imprison someone for something that they could have done or might do until they've actually committed the crime. You can't actually hold them against that. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like setting up the idea of what Civil War 2 is even going to be about. Like, Civil War 2 is the idea of, if we have the power to know someone's gonna do something bad, should we stop them before they actually do it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think later on in the book we see Captain Marvel. She mentions that they're trying to prevent things from happening.
Yeah. They pretty much, that's what they did. Like, they showed the 2 dividing sides. Like, they clearly outlined that these people have, like, conflicting ideals. She-Hulk believes that someone should not be held accountable for a crime they haven't yet committed. But Carol Danvers believes that, or Captain Marvel believes that, if they're ever in a place where they can stop someone from committing a crime before it happens, they should take the opportunity. Because every time, like, if you know someone's going to do something bad, why wait for them to do it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's sort of like responding to, like, this is what the cops do here. They respond instead of prevent.
Yeah. I mean, kind of the ploy for, like, the justifying the Civil War story to begin with was Marvel felt as if there was a story that people right now could heavily understand. The idea of invasion of privacy because of, like, the whole phone hacking stuff that was happening, like, this entire decade. Okay. Pretty much the idea of people like the means of the police and how they do what they do.
Yeah, because that's a lot of the racist shit that happens with the cops is them trying to prevent stuff from happening before they happen. It's the profiling and all of that nonsense.
Exactly, and pretty much that's what it was. Is that I kind of agree with She-Hulk, to be honest. Who do you think you agree with? Like, I agree with the idea of that. Yeah, you have, like, you believe that it's likely that this person does this, but you can't imprison someone until they actually do the act. There's nothing to imprison them for. They haven't done anything. Just because they thought about doing something, just because they can do something, doesn't justify you, like, already giving them said consequence. Do you know what I mean?
And you know what? That was an anime that came out. I forgot what it's called, but they go over this same issue. What is it called? It's an anime. Fuck. If the main character is a female and they have, like, these guns that tell whether or not a person is a criminal,
Oh, you mean Psychopaths? Okay.
Yes, I think that's what. Yes.
Well, it's from years ago, but like, Psychopaths, the one where it's the futuristic one with like the gun and and like it first it's a
Yes.
tranquilizer, then it kills them. Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah, and
That
they
show,
sort of do.
the anime goes in.
Yeah, they sort of deal with the same thing, but it's instead of people that got like technology making the decisions or whatever. But let's go on to the next scene because this is right here is important. We see War Machine in Liberia and he's sort of fixing things up and that happens. And
Yeah,
then,
that nigga teasing him, trying to bait him into be like, oh yeah, Tony will probably become president one day. Then why don't you do it? And it's
yeah,
just
man,
like,
God damn it, Mo, I was gonna get there. Jesus.
I'm sorry, man.
God. I was gonna go to the president invites War Machine to the situation room, and it's him and the
Yep.
president, and he mentions that he wants him to be Secretary of State and that he has potential to become the president of the United States, and then he drops that little nugget in there that he don't want Tony Stark to be president because Tony Stark might run. And what are your thoughts on that, Mo?
I feel as if a world where we have Tony Stark as a president is not a world that any person should ever have to live in. That is a Donald Trump nigga as president. Don't do that. Also, Rhodey being president is a better idea, but it's like I feel as if this is gonna be a little bit messy. Like this is not gonna go down good. I feel as if the president has something, like he has a, I don't know what it's called. Like he has some type of
Some skin
thing
in
that
the
he wants
game.
to do. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like he's not telling him exactly everything. You know what I mean? I feel as if he just wants one less dude and like one less hero in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's
I
sort
don't
of
know.
manipulating things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious as to how this is gonna go down.
All right.
Also, that nigga does not look like Don Chio at all. Like the way they drew him.
Oh
It's just
yeah,
like,
they're like fuck Don Cheadle, man.
I was like, this nigga looks like a soldier. Don Chio look like he got beat up one time. I don't know,
Don
man.
Cheadle got that one of them weird ass unique faces, man. He looked like a damn. He looked like that monkey from Wild Thornberries and shit.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, that's racist. I'm sorry. I apologize. But the next scene is we at Ohio State University, and we have these college students. And,
I like that scene. I like that scene.
Yeah, and he got one dude. I think his name is Ulysses, and he's trying to ask this girl Michelle out.
Hmm.
And this big ass fucking
Yeah,
blue cloud.
Yeah, but I'll tell you about that. So pretty much the way that people find out that they're Inhumans is that there's this film called the Terrigen Mist. The Terrigen Mist does either one of two things. Either it does absolutely nothing to you as it goes by wherever it's going, or it awakens the latent inhuman abilities of someone there. And do you mind if I explain what happened in that scene?
Oh, well, yeah, but I want to ask you a question right quick. Because Josh told me that. Because I asked Josh what is the difference between mutants and inhumans. And he was saying that mutants are like evolution for humans. It's that
Yeah.
next stage of evolution. And inhumans are like, they get changed by some sort of alien force or some shit like that.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like pretty much, the best way to put it is that Inhumans are a race of people that somehow manage to integrate into society, and that their ability to become latent in people. Like there'll be people that are like 0.01% inhuman, and their powers might never be activated and like or surface until like the Terrigen Mist hits them. Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So it's like it's almost like an ancient race of ancestry, really. It's just a deep, deep bloodline, and maybe one member of your family, like your great-great-grandfather, was an Inhuman. And now, if that thing, like, no one knows that they're an Inhuman until they find out. Same thing with the mutants. Like, they don't know that the next stage of, they don't know that the, what's it called, Homo Superior, or whatever they call it.
Homo superior.
That's what they call them, like Homo Sapiens, Homo Superior, the X-Men, or the mutants. And, but Inhumans are more, like, sci-fi, and what's it called, you know what I'm saying? Like they're more like aliens and stuff like that.
Okay. You want to explain what happened to the characters in this scene?
Oh yeah. One thing that made me laugh was just kind of like the girl was just like cut him off when he was about to ask her out, and she was just like, wouldn't it be cool if one of us was Inhumans? And I'm thinking in my head, it's never been a good thing when someone finds out they're an Inhuman. Like last time I read a comic book about someone finding out that they're an Inhuman, the guy turned into a tree.
The fuck?
So it's like, what do you expect to come out of this? So
Wait, just a
really,
regular ass tree?
he's just a walking Groot basically, except he looks more like a tree.
Just a nigga has tree. He just a tree.
He a tree walking around with a tree with eyes and a mouth and like arms and legs.
And no special ability, just a fucking tree.
He can use leaves and stuff, man. I don't know, man. But really, like, as I was gonna say, like, what happened in the story is that Michelle and the dude that was gonna ask out were both affected by it. What happened was she was turned into a devil demon type thing, and like he realizes that he has the power to see the future, and he sees destruction everywhere.
Okay, and let's go on to the next scene right here. We have Captain Marvel. She comes, I don't know where she came from, and she was on some sort of journey, yelling at people and shit. She meets an old friend, and this nigga has green hair.
Oh yeah, what's it called? Doc Samson.
Dark. Who the fuck is Dark Samson?
No, Doc Samson is a guy that pretty much was affected by the gamma rays, just like the Hulk was. Except it didn't turn his skin green; it turned his hair green, and he's not as strong as the Hulk. And he has his consciousness still there too. So
that is lame as shit. I mean, I guess he still has his consciousness, so that's cool.
So he's still smart. He's just beefy as hell and has green hair.
Yeah, and I guess Captain Marvel is just spilling all her guts to this nigga and talking about how the issues they're having with trying to predict what's gonna happen next, and all of that stuff.
I feel my favorite part about the conversation has to be the part where like, she's like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm trying to do this stuff and that stuff because he's trying to balance out his regular life with his superhero life per se, and then like Captain Marvel's like, I lost complete touch of that. Like, you're still trying to do that. You still care about maintaining this regular person you used to be, and it's just like Captain Marvel's completely lost touch with Carol Danvers, like just your everyday girl. Like after she got these powers, and the thing is, Samson's just trying to maintain it. It's just two completely different people. And,
is she in charge?
Yeah, she is. Well, not of the Avengers, but she's in charge of like the Ultimates team right now. So yeah, she's in charge. She's one of the people at the forefront of everything right now.
All right, and the next scene we see She-Hulk jump out the sky, and she lands in front of one of the commanders on a base, and the commander. I feel
that was Agent 13, I believe. You know, Agent 13, the person that Captain America kissed in Civil War. You know that character?
Oh, that's her.
Yeah, that was her.
Well, she looked fine as hell in the comic. God damn.
I know, right?
She looked Hispanic too, but
yep.
But yeah, she was talking to She-Hulk, and she told She-Hulk that the person that she was defending, that you said was the Jester, that nigga's dead. Because when her and She-Hulk first started talking, she was talking about how she wanted to save her client and stuff like that. And she was like, that nigga dead. He got stabbed in prison.
Yeah, that's the worst part, is because he got killed in prison for something he didn't do. You know what I'm saying? The thing is that like they I think in the story when I read it, like the reason they tried to imprison him was because someone came to him for something he used to do. Do you know what I mean? Like someone came to him with a job to do a certain crime, and then what happened was that nigga thought about it for a second, then said no, but then someone found out that person approached him, and they're like, oh yeah, you back in this crime life right now, and then they pretty much tried to arrest him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and so it's just like. What's up?
No, I was going to say that was you can continue. That was it for as far as the chapters and stuff. The pages.
It was a short book. It was not too heavy on like story and stuff like that. It was a lot of setup, really.
Yeah, it was pretty much. It was a solid setup. I would say that because it did sort of set up the two different ideologies, and you can kind of figure out who's on whose side.
Yeah. By the way, let me just say this: like the artist for this book isn't going to be the artist for the actual story. Like for the rest of it, like the next artist is actually even better than this artist. He's pretty good.
Okay.
Like this guy did a lot of issues of Iron Man, but what happened was that they realized that this nigga was so good, and they were like, "Oh no, we're gonna put you on this Civil War book that we're planning to do."
Like you too good for Iron Man.
they're like, you can draw Iron Man plus everybody else in the Civil War. By the way, you know Deadpool is in the Civil War like this time.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah, the teams are really crazy this time. Like it's interesting who they got in each team.
Now I got to ask you about the free issue 00.
Yeah, the free comic day issue.
Yeah, and that shit right there was confusing as fuck to me. I didn't understand what the hell was going on because we see Thanos and like explain that.
I didn't read it.
Oh, you didn't read it?
I have it on my desk right now, but I haven't read it.
Well, I mean, they got like Thanos in it, and the dude we just talked about, Ulysses, that can predict the future. He joins I guess the Ultimates. He gets to meet Captain Marvel.
That's cool.
And
That's
Black
cool.
Panther is there, and Captain Marvel kisses Rhodey on the lips, and like I think they fucking. So
Yeah, they
spoiler
are.
alert. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're doing the same thing where a nigga's getting a white bitch. Like they're doing the same thing in Avengers, where like female four.
Yeah.
Female 4 on Sam Wilson or Smasher Man. Sam
Oh.
Wilson, Falcon, Captain America.
Okay.
Man.
Oh shit! Like that nigga up in the world. Sam Wilson smashing female dog.
No, a white female 4. That's the key word, white. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
know, but
Marvel's
yeah,
letting the white
female
woman
Thor,
go.
yeah. But still, he's
Mm-hmm.
smashing that. Like she
Yeah.
knows she got to be powerful, and Wilson ain't shit. But
You know she Natalie Portman, right? Like that's who she is. The character Natalie Portman in the MCU. That's who she is.
well, not no more. Now that bitch gone.
Yeah, forever. She hated that job.
Yeah, she ain't get shit to do either, which is fucked up. Cause now Tessa Thompson come in and she finna get all the work.
I know, right? Oh my
man,
god,
that diversity
just
killing
like,
people.
I know, right? You know what Natalie Portman should have done? She should have been in more good movies. Then they would have paid her, like, put her in a good role.
She was in Black. She was kind of good in Black Swan. I mean, that Darren
They came out.
Aronofsky
They
film.
came out years ago, man.
Yeah, true. And she had
And plus, like, people want to act like that ain't like a perfect blue rip-off and stuff. I don't know, man.
All right, but what are your overall thoughts of Civil War 2 issue 0?
Issue 0 of Civil War 2 is a solid book. Like, I like the art, but I know who the next artist is, so it's going to be even better. Like, I think that the story is going in an interesting direction. I feel as if they set up everything in a very, very, like, very sufficient way. They don't really need to do much talking in the next issue. Like, they can go straight into kind of the action. But one thing that didn't really make sense to me for this book is that, I don't know if you know this, Bush, but, like, the actual war is going to be Captain Marvel versus Iron Man. And there was no Iron Man in this entire book.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if they're gonna move right into it and ignore all of that stuff, or is next issue just gonna be a bunch of Iron Man stuff?
Yeah, I don't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how the fuck they going. Because I saw him he was on the comic and he was like over everybody. So he had like the biggest fucking picture, even though he wasn't in the damn book.
Oh yeah, he wasn't. I don't know what that doing, man. But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say one thing I can take away from this issue is that She-Hulk fine than a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
100%. Also, I have a question for you. Do you want to read next issue?
Huh?
Are you gonna read the next issue?
Of Civil War?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll read it, but reading. I don't know who the fuck wrote Civil War issue 00, but they had Black Panther telling jokes, nigga. Like, how is he telling jokes? And
I don't know, man.
Is in chaos.
Cause niggas at Marvel don't communicate. They need to talk to each other. They need to be like, this is what's happening in my story. You call it my nigga telling jokes.
It's a prequel, nigga? Like, what is this?
I don't know, man. This a prequel back when T'Challa used to be happy.
This nigga telling cheesy ass jokes. Like, who the fuck?
Yeah, they got me writing that story, man.
Yeah, but anyway, man, that is the DO podcast. Check us out for the next pod. I don't know when that is. It's up to Mo, man. But
all right, man. Let me say this: like the video if you enjoy it, and we'll make the episodes like appear a little bit sooner than this one did. Really, just the support is what makes us want to release these episodes. And if you want more of these, just comment. We'll respond to them in the next episode of DO. And yeah.
Yeah, man. Peace the fuck out. Bye, bitches.
Peace.